So a question I get asked a lot is, David, how should I structure my day? There's so many things that I can do, it's hard to know what I should do and how I should prioritize things on my calendar. Now, if you're anything like me, it can be a real struggle to make sure that your calendar looks exactly the way you think it needs to in order to be the most successful in your sales and client relationships. So, what I want to do is share a few ideas that have worked for me and for other producers to help you structure your day in a way that maximizes your effort and is constantly working on your sales pipeline. A couple of principles for us to think about first. The first of which is that research shows that salespeople waste a heck of a lot of time. In fact, 65% of a salesperson's typical work week is spent doing non sales activities, adding notes to the CRM, internal meetings, pipeline reports, all these other things, which leaves only about 35% of your week's activities actually spent on doing sales activities. Now, when it comes to sales activities, I like to think of them as BGAs, book growing activities. So that encapsulates a whole bunch of different things that you can do, but they're all related either directly or indirectly to being able to grow your pipeline. The way to think about BGAs, book growing activities, is three different buckets. The first is your new leads bucket, the second is your current clients bucket, and the third is your centers of influence. If you have a system in place with your calendar and how you do your time management where you're actively working all three of these different buckets, that's a recipe for having a much more full sales pipeline. And you'll be able to thank yourself in the future when you make all your new targets and your goals. Now, when it comes to working new leads into your calendar, what does that actually look like? So, this is any kind of traditional prospecting, taking strangers who don't know you and getting in front of them for a potential sales opportunity. This is your classic cold calling, maybe going door to door with businesses, or calling those referrals that have been sitting on your desk for a couple weeks now. All of those and other activities are related to new leads and new business opportunities, and that fits into that BGA bucket. Now, when it comes to current clients, you might look at that and think, well, if we're talking about drumming up a new business, why am I going to be working current clients into my BGA activities? Well, the best source of future revenue is revenue you already sold in the past. And I bet there's a good percentage of clients in your book of business today who are single line, maybe two line, and you have other opportunities to sell them even more lines of business and products. So your current clients is a really great opportunity for you to cross sell, upsell, find new opportunities, or even generate referrals. So what I would advise is to include working your current clients into your regular BGA activities every week. Now, the third one is your centers of influence. Centers of influence, we're not going to spend a lot of time here, but a center of influence is those other like professionals that you work with where you send referrals back and forth to. Your classic accountants, lawyers, real estate agents, mortgage brokers, bookkeepers, all these other professionals who work with the same clients that you do, and they also deliver some kind of product or service that is related to the same kind of challenges that you help your clients with. So what you can do with your BGA centers of influence activities is make sure you're scheduling time every single week into your calendar for those coffee catch ups or for those one on one meetings with professionals in your network just to stay top of mind for them. Now, to the good stuff. How do you actually factor all this stuff into your week? Remember, 65% of your week today is probably spent not doing BGA activities. So, what I would suggest is to put your BGAs first into your calendar. So that means if your work week is from 9 to 5, that hour from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., you're slotting in a time block dedicated to one of these three different BGAs. So an example for you is maybe on Mondays and Wednesdays, you're focusing on current clients as a time block. So for the hour between 9 and 10 or 8 and 9 or whatever the first hour of your workday is, you are prioritizing calling your existing clients to book a policyholder review meeting, catch up on what's changed for them in their household or in their business, and also using that as springboard opportunities to talk about more lines of business or asking for referrals. Tuesdays and Thursdays, that might be when you prioritize new leads. So on a Tuesday, what I might do is I'll have a calling list and I'll spend 60 minutes on a Tuesday morning from 9 till 10, 9:30 to 10:30, just calling down that list, trying to book a new appointment for later that week or the next week. On Thursdays, I might be canvassing door to door. So that's me actually going to businesses, knocking on the door, walking through, and actually trying to get a meeting that way. So I would spend at least an hour doing something like that on a Thursday morning. So as for Fridays, that's where you might want to schedule your COI appointments. So what this could look like on, let's say, week one, when you're first doing this, is on Friday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. You're reaching out to your network, the other professionals that you're connected with, trying to book some kind of a coffee catch up or some kind of a discussion for the following week in that same time slot. So if you look at a month, in week one, you're reaching out on a Friday morning to try and book a meeting for week two. Week two, you have that meeting. Week three, you're reaching out to other people in your network to try to book a second centers of influence meeting for week four in the month, and keep repeating that cycle. Now, if you stick with an example like this and put it into your calendar and you stay true to that, what you'll end up doing through having those 60-minute time blocks Monday through Friday is increase the amount of BGA time you're spending every week by about 15%. So now, instead of just spending 35% of your week kind of reactively doing sales activities, you are now having at least 15% of your week dedicated to proactive sales activities, which brings up your total time management to 50% non-selling activities and 50% sales activities, which is a really good place to be in. Now, if you are a sales manager, agency owner, brokerage owner, you probably have a suspicion that the people that you're managing, the people on your team, are having a hard time configuring their calendars in a way that actually leads to greater sales success down the line. I would encourage you to maybe share this video with them, or share this idea about scheduling BGAs into the calendar, and that it should be at least a 1 hour time block on a daily basis every single week. That's it for now.